Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm a little bit tired. I'm going to be honest with you.
And a little bit country?
And a little bit. And a little bit. La, 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 la. See? It's relevant that I'm Canadian because I knew about Schitt's Creek before any of you Americans. I'm really it's really me against your country lately. Okay, hey, guys, what's up? I'm Jen. This is Neal.
Reinvigorated?
Yeah, it turns out I'm not tired.
We are... Well, I'm not from Canada. Jen's from Canada, as you just noticed. She's a teacher.
We talk about reality TV. That's what this podcast is. You wouldn't know that from the title. Well then, Jennifer, what's the point of the title? Well, let me tell you. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to explain. I took an edible.
I didn't.
I'm of legal age. It is legal in Canada. Hence, it is relevant that I discuss that I am from Canada.
Yeah.
And what are we watching?
Finally.
A genuine drum roll for this, even though you can see the title of the episode.
Devil's Plan, Season 2, Episode 12, the finale.
I really want to wallpaper my walls, guys. Can you tell me a good company that has peel and stick wallpaper that someone incompetent and shaky could do and doesn't have a good eye and isn't coordinated and isn't naturally good at things? And what else is bad about me? I can't get things even naturally.
Well, I wouldn't be a good wallpaperer, so.
Why?
I'm all the things you just listed.
No! Guys!
Okay, well, we're talking about the Devil's Plan.
They love us for us, okay?
They use exquisite wallpaper on this new...
That's the worst segue I've ever heard in my life. You sell out. Yes, we're going to talk about the Devil's Plan. Okay, we're watching the season finale of Season 2.
Which we've been very hard on because it's been, I would argue, a pretty substantial downgrade from Season 1.
And we didn't clock that early. We didn't say that right away. We took our time making that decision.
Yes. I think once, they showed the jail being half the freaking people.
So should we really be if you're new here? Hey guys, if you're new here and you like us, subscribe, give us a like, give us a rating. We would love to be able to keep doing this, and we love connecting with you guys. We love that you guys love Devil's Plan, and we would love to watch Season 1 with you guys.
Yes. Which, Season 1 was so good.
We've watched it twice already, which is why I actually remember a little bit about it. Because something you need to know about me if you're going to watch television with me, everyone, is that I forget everything. We are currently paused 14 minutes into the episode because I'm thinking in my head, if I don't come to you guys and to Neal, and this is to talk to Neal as much as it is to talk to you guys. I make him pause so we can talk all the time. I love prolonging a television show. So we are currently at 14 minutes because it's the finale. So, of course, if you've never watched the show before, it's a Korean competition reality show.
Yeah, I think that's perfect way to describe it.
Thank you. There are, how many contestants did we start with?
This season was 14, right?
I think so. They all come live in this place together, and they go into game room and they do competitions. The competitions require a lot of intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Require a lot of
strategy, teamwork,
critical thinking, and social gameplay. Yeah. Alliances factor in. It's a great example of a competition reality show. We just finished the second season. People do not like it as much. So is it a case of don't mess with a good thing? Was Season 1 already good? You have to change it up. Yes. You can't be Squid Game and have the exact same things again. You have to have jump rope instead of a glass floor.
Right.
You have to...
Spoiler alert.
Would you consider that a spoiler for me to say what one of the challenges is? I would consider a spoiler someone who dies, or someone who wins, or someone who loses, or an ultimate...
I think they went... So you have Season 1, which is great, critically acclaimed. I think you went too far with season 2 making the changes that they made. But now, if there is a season 3,
they have a lot to prove.
They can reel it back in and incorporate the change. Like, there is a lot of feedback.
I think you're totally right, and I don't think it gets canceled, right?
No, I mean, with the amount of money
Too
Netflix
successful.
is pouring into Korean shows.
And again, I say this about reality TV in general. If you, for some reason, are a network person and you are listening to this right now, do more reality TV. What you have to cost to fly and house people and feed and take care of people in a location is worth the money for the amount of drama and subscribers you get from it. But do you really get subscribers? I guess you sell advertisement stuff.
If we didn't have
Maybelline.
Netflix, would you have subscribed to watch season 2 of Devil's Plan?
Yes.
Well, there you go. People will do that.
Okay, I love that. So, like, guys, if you don't watch Netflix, if you don't have Netflix anymore, but you've never seen The Devil's Plan, and I am not affiliated with Netflix, but, like, renew your Netflix for 1 month. See if they have some special where they won't charge you as much money. If I had a code to give you, I would give you a code. But now I'm talking ads, and it isn't even an ad. And come watch the first season with us. It's so good. If you're in a reality show, reality competition show, slump, I want to be clear. Is there drama? Yes, there is, but it's all related on who's willing to do what to win. You know, we don't have relationships here, and we don't have...
Because it's only a week, and that's if you make it to the finals. So
and it's all strangers, and they're all, like, professionals. Like, there's a broadcaster and a professional poker player. And these are just real people, but in some cases they're famous, like Singles Inferno host, which brings me back down to earth. We are watching everyone come back because it's the finale. So who are we down to? I don't remember their names. Tell me now and I'll remember.
Hyun.
Hyun.
Be Nerd.
Nerd. I feel like I should...
One of the two.
I should say his name now. But I've been calling him Mean Nerd because he admittedly will do whatever it takes to win. They had an awesome montage in the beginning of their first introduction, like sitting down with production, and how he talked. They're like, what do you want out of this? And he says, to win. And they say, that's it? Like, most people say, oh, well, I would like to get this far, or I would like to prove to myself that I could. No, he wants to win. And then it goes to Sohee, and she's talking about if there was a situation where I would have to betray someone, I would find that very difficult.
Yeah, so total opposite of the coin.
So such a cool editing moment. That's what they're good at storytelling.
Yes.
But they made a bad decision with making the jail. So you get points when you win. And the people with the lowest points go to the jail. They sent so many people to the jail with no way to collect more points in the jail, practically, that the standings never changed throughout the show. That's no fun.
That was the huge difference.
And we loved the underdogs. But we loved the underdogs both seasons.
But
why did it work in season 1?
Because...
No spoilers.
Even though they were still underdogs, only 2 people max would be in jail in season 1 at a time. So everyone then is still together for the most part.
So that is the core problem.
And in this, half the people, so you naturally have a split. You're going to create alliances from that. So half and half, whereas in the first...
dominant alliance. Yes,
I think in the first season, there was... Alliances played a much lower,
but
or lesser
I wanted
part.
to know, I said this in a past episode, to know,
yeah.
To partner up with Seven High. I felt like he really respects how Seven High plays the game.
Yeah.
And in a different season, if there was more flexibility, I think they would have teamed up. But from the very beginning of this game, once your alliance was your alliance, that was it. And if you were dominant, you were dominant. And if you were on the outs, you couldn't claw your way back up. That's no fun.
No.
Because we're going to cheer for the underdogs. And I think we've talked about this 100 times, that the producers did underestimate how much we would root for the broadcaster and the mayor of jail and Seven High. If you haven't been with us all this time, we have nicknames for these people because I'm really bad at names. Like, really bad. And I'm a teacher, which is my favorite thing to tell you guys about myself.
Which I've already told them this episode.
No, you beat me to the punch. Oh.
But the other thing besides jail, which you alluded to, in the first season, the pieces were way more abundant. And in this season, for whatever reason, They got rid of the prize match, which is where everyone got their pieces in the first season.
You could no longer exchange pieces in the game room.
That was a big one.
Anything would have to be done in anticipation of what the game was going to be. That's tough. Yeah. You have to make some predictions and hypotheses.
It played a lot. And if you were, because there's no prize match, you just go to the jail death match second season, and maybe you'd get a coin for winning that sometimes.
So, jail was really bad. And to top that off, there was like a secret place in jail where you'd get more points, right? That's what he won was points.
Yeah, you got 10 coins.
So then obviously, that was the little bit of change. That was Nice Nerd, as I called him, though I do think he was looking out for his own best interest, which there's nothing wrong with doing that in a competition game, but I think he was. I think he would have aligned himself with whoever he had to win the game. I think he would have jumped ship in either direction. Well, we watched him do it, really. I still call him Nice Nerd, because I think he was gaming, but it didn't feel good for him to do it. Whereas Mean Nerd, I feel like he wants us to feel like he's not emotionally affected by betraying others.
Right.
So, everyone's together now. I love that Singles Inferno and the broadcaster are still fighting. Yeah. She's like, you lied to my face. You both did. She is just calling them out so directly. That's why I think she and Seven High are such a good match if they don't already have partners. I hate when people romanticize people who are already in established relationships or marriages, leaving, like wanting Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney to be together because they have chemistry in a movie. Acting is a job.
And then they both magically became single, but...
Acting is a job.
Yes.
Don't get me mad. So
yeah, they are mingling. I'd forgotten the first few people that had been eliminated, even though this is the second time watching it. Originally, I'd forgotten about them. But I like that they get to get together, everybody, and then watch the final match.
And I love that the people that went early, and went earlier than this episode in general, or the last episode in general, don't know what happened. Like, they've been in sequester, but they haven't watched it because it's still happening.
Well, no,
so they walk into the room and they don't know who the finalists are.
I don't think they're sequestered. That's the
you're right. They just say they go home. Either way, they don't know anything about what's happening anymore. They go back to real life. Yeah, because the guy who just went home, Nice Nerd.
He's like, I went home and then immediately had to come back.
I went home for one night. That's crazy. So the costs are even lower. So come on, we should be getting 2 Devil's Plan a year. No, not 2 Devil's Plan a year. I would like there to be 3 competition reality shows on the go at all times.
We should get...
Like, the challenge is starting this month.
Physical 100 and a Devil's Plan every year.
Every year. 100. That's such a good. And then add in a third one. And I don't want it to be cooking. Neal and I will put the Food Network on in the background. Neal loves Gordon Ramsay. Neal loves watching cooking shows. I don't want it to be, like, the main thing I watch.
But the Physical 100 cooking version was phenomenal.
That was really good, actually. Not as good as Physical 100, though.
No, Physical 100 is awesome. And... I would think they filmed the 3rd season.
Is that one that did it right? Did they just stick to the script for their 2nd season so it worked?
I think so, yeah. Just changed up the games and...
Which you have to do. Which I don't think they did a bad job of in season 2 of The Devil's Plan. Also, what I was going to go back to is when Nice Nerd went to jail... He was the second one to try the well challenge, right? She failed. But they didn't show us what she had to do. So in the jail, there was a lock with a code, and you could see, was that the one that was Juliet? They got the word Romeo, and so they had to put in a code with letters. Anyway, they found a secret passage. It had a well. Inside that well was a really cool challenge. To me, that was like upping the challenge.
That was really cool.
However, you can't have that, award him the points in like the 3rd episode, and then have nothing else for the jail the whole time.
Right. Well,
you can't only have that. You would have to have separate rooms. You can't just keep chucking people into wells. But you should have had more than the death match.
In season 1, that didn't happen until like 3/4 of the way through the season. So
what, that they got those like puzzles they could open? That only gave them like one piece.
Well,
but there should have been stuff like that.
The Grim Reaper match.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, again, they can learn from this. The creators said, like, he's admitted his mistakes for this season.
Oh, awesome.
So, hopefully, you have two great, the first season, just go back to that at this point and just do new games.
Well, we talk about this all the time. If it's the same people running it, I think we have a much better shot of, like you said, learning from mistakes, combining the best with the better, and getting rid of the not so good and the bad.
I would just go back to season 1's format.
But you can't. You gotta make it. There's also pressure to make it bigger.
Yeah.
Like, the well felt bigger. I wouldn't want the games to be any smaller than that. They're bordering on small now. Like, it's bordering on watching people play board games and not playing them yourself. Like, would you turn on a TV channel and watch someone play a board game? Doesn't that what watching poker feels like? How is watching poker so popular?
Because it's suspenseful.
Is it?
So,
here's the thing. I'm Canadian. I love curling. Love to watch curling. Understand that there's strategy to it. Think it's so interesting. Think it's riveting. Like to call moves. Get into the game. And I don't get into every game. I'm like a fake sports liker. I'm like, I cheer for Canada in the Olympics. I'm a, what's it called? Quasi. Did you just say feral? I'm a feral fan.
No,
FF.
Fair weather fan.
I'm not fair weather. I'm with you good or bad. I'm not fair weather, but I am
I'm only
fake.
with you, when you're relevant.
Doing something interesting. Amuse me, damn it. Veronica Mars is my favorite show of all time. That is a quote from that. Okay, we're only 14 minutes in. We are going to keep watching, and we will be back. I'm really sorry if you don't like these cuts, but there's no way I can wait to the end of an hour and 27 minutes and come back and talk to you guys about the show. I just wouldn't have anything about this.
And plus,
part.
we'll have a lot to talk about during the games.
Again, love that they're kind of poking fun at each other. Love that they're kind of like surprised and like having to ask, oh, what happened between you guys? And they get to retell the stories from their perspectives. And Seven High gets to be like, I'm still angry. And the broadcaster gets to be like, you lied to me. I'm telling everyone.
This would never be as good if it was an American show. Let's just put out there.
Because they wouldn't like each other as much.
There'd
be so much tension.
The Korean contestants are so nice and respectful that you just feel great watching.
They're like making fun, and it's so natural and cute and kind and
it would be
respect. It's all about respect.
Like watching Battle Camp on Netflix, everyone was just so obnoxious, and I wouldn't want that to come anywhere near a type of show like this.
You are so right. Oh my gosh, what a good point. No one listened to us talk about Battle Camp. It's not going to get another season. Our fingers are on the pulse. Our fingers are on the pulse, man. Little pat on the back. Okay, guys, we will be back. Do we know when? No, we don't. Whenever I feel like I'm bursting with things to say. BRB. Okay, we're back. We're going to come back after each game. So our two finalists just played the first game. You're going to have to explain it because I'm not.
So it was like high-low betting. They each got cards 0 through 9. And the dealer would deal a card 0 through 9.
You had all the cards. You had 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, etc.
Yes. And one person would put out a card, and the other person would bet chips on whether it's high or bigger or smaller.
Like the card was face down. So do we think as the observer, me over-explaining, do we think as the observer that the card they played is higher than the dealers or lower than the dealers?
Thanks. And, for almost the entirety of the game, it's just two chips. They're just going back and forth. Pretty boring.
Which bothers Neal.
Yes.
He wants there to be action.
I wouldn't be able to do these small bets. I would be like 7 high. I would be doing like 10 chips, 7 chips. Let's go. Which probably she should have done, yes. She gets one victory early on.
At the very beginning, he is dominating. he uses reverse psychology against her, and she plays directly into his hand. She does exactly what he wants her to do, like 3 times in a row.
Yes.
So you think, oh, this is going to be over. Then she gets way ahead. Because once she messes Mean Nerd up once, and this is why I think they should fall in love and get married. I think they should. We don't talk about that enough. We argue about who we think Seven High should be with, but I think Mean Nerd and Sohee should be together.
Yeah.
Okay, so, because she brings out the better in him, but she confuses him. Like, she's a puzzle he can't solve. Like, he looked at her and said, I don't know what you're doing. And she said, I hope not. Like, that's the point. She needs to trick him. If she could have kept playing into that, well, all she needed to do was do it once. Like I said, once she tripped him up once, it really did throw him off his game. But then she messed up. Tell us about that.
So they're getting down, and the cards don't get reshuffled. You have the finite number of cards. And so she was up 14. Oh, no, it was tied 14-14.
Wasn't it 14-11 at one point?
14-11.
I don't know.
Yes. Or no, she had...
No, 14-14.
She had 17.
Right?
It was 17-14.
Okay.
And she was betting, and she bet 3 chips to go down to 14. And
yes.
The card was a 2. No, it was 1. And he still had a 0, but then he had like 5 and an 8, or 4 and an 8. So
what did he assumed that she assumed that he would choose the 0? No, because she played it on big.
He assumed that she would play it on big, but bet more than 3.
Right.
Because the max he could get that turn would be 7 by playing the 8. Because 8 minus 1 is 7.
So she'd played all of her chips.
She would have won. Because she got 3 to go to 20.
But what if she played all her chips on big and he played a 0?
Then she would have lost. Right. But
she gets mad at herself. She feels like she lost track of the fact that he still had an 8, which I feel like is what happened to the mayor in one of the death games. She lost track of what dice the other people had because she was focusing on just the round in front of her. That's what happened for just like a glimpse of a second for Sohee, and it was enough that Mean Nerd won that round. So we're at 1 for...
So he plays the 8, so she bets big. So she gets her 3 chips back and then 3 more chips to go to 20. But he was at
21.
He was at 14, so he got 7 chips, and so he went to 21. And
obviously, I don't know how the scoring works. How come he could only get 7?
Because it was a 1. The dealer did a 1, and he played an 8. So
the differential is your point.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the final round was a tie, so it just...
Well, yes.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. So Hyun wins...
The first match.
Which... So I don't want to say I wouldn't call this one choking because he could have played the 0 and hoped, but
she was being conservative, but you needed to go all the way.
Right. So if he would have played the 0... She
would have lost everything because you would have bet everything. In our scenario we're suggesting she should have bet everything.
Right, but even if she had just bet 3 chips and he played the 0 and she bet big, it would have been 14-14. I thought they said you only get chips if your card is bigger, so like he can't...
Oh, so the 0 was just like, you want to stay in it type of thing.
Maybe. I might be wrong on that. So he might have won either way. Yeah. It really came down to the amount of chips that she was going to bet. Number of chips that she was going to bet.
Semantics. Yes. I'm annoying.
So, second game's coming up. We'll get back to you after we watch that one.
I do really feel, though, sorry, this is not us back right now. This is me not letting us go. I do really feel like she has trouble following through, which I talked to you about when we watched prior episodes, because so much of it has been like poker this season.
Yes.
I would be good at, I think, getting out of a moderately difficult hole. Like if I was down to say like, well, it depends on the kind of game you're playing. But if I was down to like 15 chips out of like 50, I feel like I could build my way back up, but I wouldn't know how to knock your defenses down. And that's what I think she's bad at.
Yeah.
She's good at building herself up because she's so smart. I asked Neal what he thought. Would she have won if it was her, he front runner against Mean Nerd in that math equation competition one, that death game?
I think she would have.
I think she could beat him at that. I think she's like traditionally smarter than him.
Yes.
I think his cunning nature just is really suited to this game, which you need. But he's still, I want to be really clear, I call him Mean Nerd. I think he's still very likable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm shipping their romance. Like,
Yes.
I want them to be together. And I think she's a great person.
And as I would describe him, he's a gamer.
Exactly.
And a lot of these people aren't gamers,
Even if they're from the reality world or the television world, this is a beast of its own.
Yes, like Seven High's a gamer.
Right.
So that's why he competed so hard. Tino is a gamer.
Such a good point,
So
that's why this show works.
Yes.
Okay, now we're actually going to go. We'll be back after the next game because otherwise we won't remember it if we wait longer than that. Okay, we are back from the second challenge.
Yes.
Face off, head to head.
An old Nepalese game with tigers and goats.
This one's all you, bud.
Basically, you have a bunch of lines and a giant square, so basically spots on a game board, and your objective is either as the tigers to jump over the goats and eat them.
Like checkers?
Yes. And then your goal for the goats is to basically block in the tigers so they can't move.
So it's just checkers.
Right. But in this case, they play two games at the same time.
So on one board, you're the goats. On one board, you're the lions.
Tigers.
Whatever.
Yes. And nothing really happens at the beginning. They're playing a very outside-oriented game. But first, they each got to pick somebody from the previous players to come workshop with them for a half
cool.
hour.
30 minutes to, strategize
Yes.
with whoever you deem to be, your BFF. It's adorable.
Hugh Yoon picks Tano, and so he picks Singles Inferno. And he is, stunned.
He was surprised. She felt bonded to him, I think.
Yes, and so they start, nothing really happens at the beginning. They both play all their pieces on the outside, which is smart because you can't jump outside.
Deep. I'm surprised Seven High's Alliance didn't say, hey, do you think they can jump off the board? That's referencing how they knew it was a 3D board. Well, they didn't know it was a 3D board, but they had a flat version, a picture version of the 3D board, and there were blatantly, fences there, barriers there. And they were like, maybe we can just go across them. No, they're fences.
Yes. So,
you could hop over them, but they didn't think about it that way. Anyway.
A little...
Lions and tigers and bears.
Yes. So, a ways into the game, Gyu Hyun, whichever way it is, Mean Nerd.
Hyun.
Hugh Gyun. I think, that's it.
Hung Gyun?
No.
Hugh Gyun.
Yes. He plays a goat inside the board rather than stick with the outside. And
because you have to lay pieces down, so it's different than checkers in that way.
The tigers have to consistently move each turn. So you keep adding if you're the goats, and the tigers keep moving.
So there are multiple, layers to the game. But it is just much more
Yes.
blatantly strategic. Like you're just playing chess.
So he puts one on the inside, and everyone's like, "What? You're not just playing it safe?" And then so he gets one. So right away, when she captures that goat, because she's playing safe, she's basically won. Because it's whichever board wins first.
So if once you let someone take your first one, you're going to keep getting knocked down.
But that doesn't even have to be the case. He could have gone back to playing it safe, but he would have lost because the other board, she didn't make any mistakes, so that one was going to block the Tigers first no matter what. So she would have won on the other board if he had gone back to playing it safe.
Right.
So she would have... So he, realizing that, he keeps trying to do this, play the inside and try and get the Tigers stuck in the middle.
Well, he had no choice but to play really aggressively then.
And it doesn't work at all. So her board, where she's the goats, is like flawless. By the time they're done, she's got like 80% of it filled without losing a goat. And then she captures all five of the goats that he puts out there. So he made that one. I mean,
why?
Why what?
Why did he do it? Does he explain himself?
He said, they both didn't really understand the game that well, so...
Is that what he said?
Yes, he's like, and in those cases, you usually play it safe like she was, but I thought I had a strategy that could work, so...
It was a game he wasn't used to, obviously. I guess it's not... It must imitate some strategy games.
Nine Man's Morris, the game that was in the finals last season.
Or like the Knight's Tale this season.
Yeah.
It's a game that already exists.
I think... Now, what would have been interesting is if no one made a move and they both played safe.
Would we go on forever? No, it has to end.
Right. It would just be whoever makes the first mistake loses. And he made a mistake and lost.
Right. So now we're 1-1. Really, she should be the winner at this point. I think she is the better player.
Yeah.
I think she outsmarted herself in the first round.
Yes. And she capitalized on his mistake this game, so...
I'm glad she did that. I'm glad they're 1-1. I'm glad we get to see all three. I genuinely don't remember, even though we've watched it twice, what happens in the first season. Don't tell me.
I know, yeah. I'm
don't
not
spoil
say,
it.
I remember what happens.
I don't even remember if they get to a third game. But we will now watch the third game. We have about 40 minutes left of the episode. We will probably come back when the episode is completely over at this point. Well, that only makes sense. There's going to be a winner after this round. So we wait for them to celebrate and stuff. I don't even remember if they do celebrate. I wish they did a reunion. It's not really an appropriate show for a reunion. Maybe a reunion just in this moment, the way Survivor does now. The way they just sit down in the moment.
That'd be cool.
Like if they brought a host in and just asked them questions now, like naturally, right off the cuff of how they're feeling in the moment, that would be cool. Okay, we'll be back in 40 minutes for us, in 2 seconds for you. Woo! Okay, we are back and we have officially finished season 2 of The Devil's Plan.
Going out with a bang. Game 3, the decider.
This is better than I remember. I gotta be honest with you guys. We just recorded a discussion about this and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's
and
bumsky.
We're not happy campers right now, so this is the season that never ends for us. So please rate and like and subscribe and join us as we rewatch or watch with us for the first time the first season of The Devil's Plan, please. I promise we will be reinvigorated. I promise we want to talk about it. We are just, as we've talked about, not happy with the season. Okay, the final, we're face to face.
Yes.
Explain the game.
So everyone gets a deck of cards,
and they have to pick 8 cards from each deck, well, from their deck, and create a lineup that the other person has to guess to win.
It's like the game, okay, if you were alive in the 90s, or I guess the 80s, because sometimes I bring this game up to people and they don't know it, called Mastermind, and you pick little knobs and you hide them. It's like Guess Who. Everyone's played Guess Who, except that you have a sequence of 4 colors. You could do all 4 red, but people are going to guess that pretty quick. Your opponent has to guess, kind of like Wordle, has to guess, they ask questions. Do you have a green in the first position? And you say yes or no. And then you keep track of the answers to your opponent's questions until you think you know what their sequence is. It's like that, but with cards. Okay, keep going. Other rules. Betting. I never understand the betting.
They each get 10 chips to start. Whoever bets the most chips per round gets to either ask a question.
And the questions are pre-written.
Yes. Or you guess what the other person has to win. And
so obviously you're not going to do that till late in the game.
If you tie, each person loses those chips, but you get 2 chips back. Well, you get 2 chips after you lose those chips. And then each round you get 2 new chips. So
you get 2 chips twice? See, it doesn't matter. If you're not following us, the main reason for the voting is if you use the most, you get to decide what to do. You want to be able to ask more questions, but you also don't want to lose all of your chips. If you get down to 5 or fewer chips, your podium will light up red. So basically it'll be telling your opponent, hey, she can't ask any more questions. However, by that point in the game, if you've wagered intelligently enough, if you've asked the right questions, you should be at the point where you are almost ready to guess either way. Which I guess, like, that's why you said, you made a comment to me, you're like, I don't think the red podium is that important. It's not really.
Right.
Because by the time you're gonna run out...
You're already following how many chips they've used for the most part.
Well, you don't know, though.
I mean...
Well, you know, if it was less than you or more than you.
Yeah.
Fewer than you or greater than you. Oh, the semantic police is killing me today. I have OCD, I can't help it. Okay.
So did you tell him about the suit?
The suits, okay.
This is the most important part.
You say it.
So, the cards don't have to be in ascending order except when it comes to the same suit. So, if you have 3 cards with the same suit in your 8, they have to be like a 3, 5, 7. They have to go 3, 5, 7. But if you have a spade in there, you can put a 9 of spades before the 7.
Like, your hearts don't have to be touching each other, and they don't have to be in ascending order with any other suits.
Right.
Just all within their suits. The ace counts as a 1 for the purposes of ascending order, and the jack, queen, and king are 11, 12, 13, respectively. That's the appropriate word to use
not
there.
Not disrespectfully.
Absolutely not.
We respect the court.
Guys, I have the weirdest dreams.
So, they go back and forth, but, I mean, so he gets more questions in the beginning, because she spends more chips. And...
she asks really good questions.
Yes. Really good. And you have to write down so much freaking information.
Because they're just giving you the answers verbally. So you might ask a question like, what is the sum of the numbers in the first 3 positions?
Which that one's important.
That's a really valuable piece of information. You can, I think, blatantly ask one that's like, how many face cards do you have? She only had 1 face card. I thought that was such a good move because there were other questions about the face cards. So it was like, if it was asked, what is the sum of your face cards? That would give away a lot. So she only used 1. I thought that was smart.
That was very smart. So she is the first person to try and guess what the other person
Yeah,
has.
she bets the highest. She says, I want to do a truth, which means, okay, you guess from left to right. And suits don't matter when you're guessing. You just have to be like, ace, 3, 4, 5, 5, jack, king.
Yes. Is that 8?
I don't think so.
So when she starts
For example.
saying them, the people watching, the old contestants, like, she won, because they're doing it at the same time.
Which is so cool. They're so smart. They're like sitting there with the rules, with the list of questions. I love that the producers gave them that.
Yes.
So they could watch and really play along. So we're watching people play along while we watch people play.
Right. And the announcer comes on and says that she is wrong. And she
is confused at this point because she, and fairly so, because we know her enough now to know that she wouldn't go to guess unless she was sure.
Yeah.
So she must have made a mistake. Everyone else in the living quarters is like, she must have made a mistake because with the questions she has asked, she should have enough information.
Right, and it turns out she wrote down, when she asked what was the sum of the first 3 numbers, she wrote 12.
But it was 13.
And so she was, she put a 3 instead of a 4 in the third
like
number.
one number off in one spot.
So now she used most of her chips, so
her podium is on.
Hyun, he's now been asking questions, and she kind of builds her chips back up. And then he guesses, and he's wrong.
Like, that's quite... So there are 2 moments where you're, like, waiting on bated breath to see whether or not they're right. To me, that makes for a good finale game.
Yes, and once he's wrong, he realizes it's a 50-50 for her, for what?
He knows 7 cards for sure, and the last card, he has 2 options. So basically, if he had 2 free guesses, he would win.
Yes.
But here's the thing. At this point in the game, they have the same number of chips. The exact same number. So what does that mean they're both going to do?
They're both going to keep betting, going all in every turn, because you get the same, you have the same number, so you each, I think it was 2, so you each bet 2 every hand because you get 2 new ones.
So draw,
Yes,
after draw. Because if I'm him, I know I can't let her get another turn. She hasn't been calculating. She hasn't written a thing on paper, picked up a pen in rounds. She knows the answer. She knows where she made her mistake.
Yes.
She just needed to build up her pieces again.
Yes.
At this point, they're both down a lot. She can't let him go because he's got a 50-50.
Right.
So he doesn't have a sure thing, but, I mean, you can't let him take the chance. Why when you don't have to?
You don't put your fate in somebody else's hands.
Preach. That is exactly it.
But what does she do?
She puts her fate in someone else's hands.
She pulls back her 2 during one round.
Lets him win, basically.
And he through his deduction of her.
Yeah, this is really cool. So, spoiler alert, he says truth. He goes with one of the options of his 50-50. He gets it right. Mean Nerd is the winner of Devil's Plan Season 2. But yes, talk about his calculation.
I don't remember his calculation, but he's...
Not his calculation, his, like, deduction about her.
He basically says, of the 2 choices, I think she would go with the way she is and the way she's been playing and how smart she is. She would go with this one rather than the other. Because
there was a question that would have given a lot away about a certain arrangement. So I don't remember if it was 2 of the same numbers or 2 consecutive numbers. I think it was 2 consecutive that he was saying, I don't think she would use any consecutive because there was a question about consecutive cards that would really give a lot away about the position and the totals of exact cards.
Yeah.
So he, by looking at the questions, because they were allowed to look at the questions before they arranged their cards, by looking at the questions, he knows, hey, I know that her looking at those questions, she was saying to herself, well, I can't arrange them this way. The same way she only used one face card.
Yes.
She was trying to, like, make it so that you had to ask a lot of questions to get her combination. There was so much strategy in how you arrange those 8 cards.
And of all that strategy, if she would have just kept going all in, the producer or the creator said that they had a backup game in case there was an infinite loop.
Like, I just feel like that's so her personality to be like, well, I better just let him try because, like, we can't just be here all day. Like, the people pleaser not wanting to bother anyone, being like, okay, I'm going to take my chances just because the tide needs to switch.
No.
Stand there all day throwing in those 2 chips. It's real money, honey.
Yes, $380,000.
Is that how much it works out to be? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's life-changing money.
Yeah.
That's not like retirement money, obviously, but like it's life-changing money. It's you can get your feet on the ground money.
Yep, so that was that. I think season 1 was superior, but I think like we had a whole discussion about the games.
Yeah, you think they went too big in the wrong ways.
Yes.
I think they didn't go big enough. Like, neither of us liked the treasure hunt game. I'm not sure if it's because that's when Justin went home and the tide really turned and that's when the underdogs were really, really the underdogs. But I felt like them just going into a room and there's a little board game there, that's too small for me. I needed it to be a little more grand.
Yes, and the other games were great.
Yeah.
I like the deathmatch games. I like gambling, and
I do think there's a place for them. I think there was too many.
yes, too many with no. Again, they should have had increased prizes at least.
Oh, definitely. That's the biggest issue.
Even winner goes back to the living quarters.
Something. Change the stakes each time. You're so right. It doesn't have to be fixed.
Yeah.
Now, but don't make it so varied that we like you got us spinning, you know? We like some consistency. It's all a balance.
Yes.
And I think you're so right. I think season 3, they're going to hit their stride. They're going to have their sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because they'll know what they did right and just do more of that. I like that both times. So we like this season where someone was a corrupt cop and there were thieves and there was like a subway map. That was super cool.
The zombie hunter, witch hunter game.
The one that was basically just like Magic the Gathering. I thought the well was super cool. I thought the like life-size Knight's Tale was super cool. Knight's Tour. So those like little shoot-off things for special prizes, definitely lean into that. If you have more warehouse space, make more for the jail instead of just the well one and then kaput.
Yeah. I think they definitely. Yeah, if you get through them early in the season, you have to do something else.
Yeah, you need to have something ready.
So maybe there's. Okay, you finished the first room. Now we're gonna put in clues for a second room that you do later in the season. I don't know, but it.
And make it related. So if different people end up in jail and the producers change something about jail each time, then there are people who only have bits and pieces of clues. So you would have to work with other jail people to be like, well, hey, what do they know?
Yeah.
Like, what if they saw that the floor thing was there because they were choosing not to tell anybody? But the thing is, it didn't switch around enough for the living quarters people to ever even have the chance to do like a jail game.
Right.
Or for the jail people to know anything about the living quarters and like the insert coin here.
Or put a cooldown on like the well, say for 36 hours.
No, I don't think you reuse.
But with different patterns that you'd need to do.
No.
Okay.
We're not redoing here. Okay. Gotta be, that's what I'm saying. That's the balance. That's the sweet spot. You gotta find the in-between. We don't want everything to look unfamiliar. We like familiarity, but make it better. It's hard.
Yeah.
I want to do it, like, for a living. That's my dream.
Hunger Games game maker.
No! Like, pretend, you maniac. We just watched the,
Shoots and ladders, snakes and ladders.
the President Snow one.
Song ballads and songbirds. Or something.
I feel bad that everyone hates the main actress. I think it's unwarranted, so I was like, let me watch something that she's in so I can be like, she's not that bad. I have no opinion, honestly.
It was it was a movie and book nobody asked for and nobody wanted. So I think the reactions were pretty much the same. Like, it was okay. It was
okay. It was
like
too
part
long.
one of the third Hunger Games movie. Like, it's just there. You didn't need to do it.
Oh, gosh. Splitting? We're not going to get into splitting novels up just for money.
Right. Well,
Because, like, Eclipse.
yeah.
No. New Moon. No. Breaking Dawn.
Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2 were sorely needed, though.
I'm not
'Cause they do so
saying...
much.
I'm not blanket statement saying that there's never a situation where that's
also
appropriate.
the book is like 3 times as long as those.
Thank you.
Yes.
And unless there's a logical,
You don't need
really...
to turn The Hobbit into 3 movies when it's like a
Thank you.
super short book.
You can just make it. It can be 2.5 hours. It can almost be 3 hours. Make it 3 hours.
I would
But
do
you can have one.
2 movies for The Hobbit max.
Oh, I don't even think I do 2. Well, no, you could.
But not.
I did read it in high
You
school-
wouldn't need
high
2
school.
2.5 hour movies. Just 2 2-hour quick movies. Boom.
100%. 100%. Milk that cow, but like just enough.
Yes.
Like let it still enjoy its life in the pasture.
Because like even there was an interview with the director whose name like Peter Jackson. He basically said during the filming of the Battle of Five Armies, the third Hobbit movie, I only have a little bit of like I don't know what to put in this movie. Like
Oh gosh, what a situation to be in.
like they didn't have enough book content to
wander
stretch.
some more.
Yeah, so that's yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. I told you we'd talk about the season finale eventually.
Yes. So, I'm going to put this up tonight.
Please join us for the first season. We would love to have you.
You'll get to see your Hottie McHot-Hots again.
Oh, gosh. You're right. But now I know that they're like, he at least is married in real life. So I
He
can't.
was a lot older. Like, he's in his 40s.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Anyway, we're going to watch that. We'll be back. If you haven't given our Love Island stuff a chance, please do. If there's anything about us as humans you like, just go listen to that too. We don't talk so much about the show that it's like unfollowable,
Yeah.
I feel like.
And we got the challenge coming up. We have Amazing Race Canada, I think, which started tonight.
Oh my gosh.
So-
We have a new Real Housewives, I didn't realize, of Orange County. I saw a picture of Shannon Bedore. There's the door, Shannon Bedore.
Yeah, do we talk about them?
The world is our oyster. We stopped talking about Miami, but sometimes in our roundups, I feel like we can. Let us know. No, because you know what? Even if you tell us you like one episode to focus on one thing so you don't have to watch the ones you don't watch, I can't promise you that I will talk about the ones you do like. So I don't want to make those promises to you and then break them.
Right.
You mean too much to
Only
me, you know?
select few shows are going to get dedicated.
Damn, do you hear that? If you get chosen by us, it's like an anointment. Anointment? Is that a word?
I
Anointed.
don't
Being
know.
anointed.
We need to end this episode.
Hey guys, thanks
This
for
is
listening.
like Return of the King.
10 fake endings. My high school friend made me go to the theater to watch that. The chairs in our hometown theater were not comfortable
No.
enough for a movie of that length.
No.
Dear Lord. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening.